Everybody, welcome along. It's the other dimension, and tonight, I think I'm on my own again, but we're going to chat rubbish for a little while and see what comes up. So, who's ready? Steady? Go.
Welcome to The Other Dimension with the team Damon Penny, Ben Winfield, and Louisa Brown. We guide you through the supernatural, the occult, and the unexplained, answering questions that will make you question your grip of reality, with special guests guiding you through everything from demons to divination, cryptids to crystals, religion to skeptics. We explore in depth the true meaning of the unexplained. So strap in, kick back, and enjoy as we enter the other dimension.
Hello, everybody, and welcome along to this week's The Other Dimension show. I am your host, DAM to the penny. Yeah, I've had one too many cokes, all right, so it's going to be a fun one. And yeah, it is that time. It's that time for your Paranormal Fix, your Friday night Paranormal Fix. Let me know if you're locked in, because for some reason, the last few weeks, we've drawn a very small crowd. I think it's because I'm on my own, and I don't know. It's just been a little bit of a weird one. Big shouts out to Philip Harrison. How you doing? Yeah, we're gonna let people come in. So, guys, little update. I know I said it last week, but the new merch should be available soon from Paradox or Para something. I've seen the beta versions and they are awesome. I'm gonna have to get an oversized tee for it when I'm at gym. Just to do a bit of advertising and that. Also, I have a charity event coming up in November. So the GoFundMe page will be up soon. I'll be raising money for the National Autistic Society, doing a 14K assault course over here in Brentwood. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just started my cardiovascular training for that last week. Officially on season, off season now for me, ready for. I'm looking to do my show in 56 weeks, so hopefully that comes good. Also, we also have Sunday show and all the other shows here on the channel. We also have our affiliates, so if you want to find out about them, guys, then have a look at this.
Welcome to the Other Dimension Network, exploring the unexplained, in partnership with Embrace the Dark Paranormal Science Beyond the Grave, Haunted Museum and Spirit Shop, Stoke. And lock in to our other shows: The Witch's Closet with Scarlet Witch, Divination with Louisa Brown, Occult, History, and Science with Ben and Lou. Only on the Other Dimension Network.
So make sure you check all them guys out. Absolutely stoked to be sponsored by Stoke and all the guys that Embrace the Dark. It is amazing to have such affiliates here on the show. Just think, we've only been going 2 years and the podcast is getting bigger and bigger. So more things to come your way. Sorry if I hope you guys can hear me. Sorry if I'm a bit chilled, a bit relaxed. It's been leg day today. I'm in serious amounts of pain, so we are getting there though. Yeah, so much going on here at the Other Dimension. A lot more things to come. I am 90% of the way through sorting out the Patreon, ready for you guys to sign up, ready for the conspiracy shows. And the subject this week is sort of running off of that. I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to get your guys' take, and I wanted to see if you guys have ever had it happen to you. Now, within the occult and the esocentric ways of teaching, there's always something that comes up called the revelation of method. The revelation of method, or the now you see me theory. And this is something that comes up in a lot, especially with the paranormal and especially with the conspiracy, it's the idea that they show you the method on how you get to where you're going in order to make you more subdued to the fact that you're going there, if that makes sense. So, hi Kate, hi Annette, how you doing, guys? So, for an example, the best example I can give without going too complicated, if you look at 9/11 and the ways in which, did you watch the Congress on the OP? No, I didn't. I did not yet. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, I've just started my on-season training. I'm prepping cardiovascularly now for a 14K assault course to raise money for the National Autistic Society, plus work. I'm literally at the point where I don't get much time to myself at the minute. As you can tell, I'm knackered. But yeah, something I really want to do. So, revelation method. So, if you look at all the things in which happened up to the point of 9/11, there is revelation of method, which I can't go into too much detail on here. It's almost like showing someone your hand before you actually reveal what you've got. So it's almost like if you play a bluff in poker. Now, it's a very occult thing to do. I mean, if you look at history in itself, the whole changing things from pagan to Christian, you can see the revelation method on that. You know, they were going around talking about how great, you know, this God is, and his son had come to earth, and, you know, was doing all these amazing things and all this sort of thing. This was a revelation method. They were showing the method in which they were going to change the consensus of the population. So it happens a lot, you know, especially within the occult and the conspiracy world. So if there's anything you guys can think of off the top of your head where revelation and method has been a big thing, bring it up. What actually happened, Kay, with the Congress on unidentified alien phenomena? What did they actually come to terms with? Because it would be funny if they retracted their original statement that they exist. I did watch a documentary. I've been on nights this week up until today when I went from night straight to morning, so I've only had about 4 hours sleep. I did watch a documentary on something called the Tom Collins Elite. This was a specifically formed elite group of people that were created by the American government to see the correlation between alien phenomena and demonic phenomena. And their main job was to prove the existence of alien phenomena in the sense of it being demons from separate dimensions. And this is true. There is a lot of evidence to back it up. There's even a list of the people that are part of the Tom Collins Elite. I'm sure it was called the Tom Collins Elite. But yeah, I watched it. Hi, Natasha. Welcome along. So yeah, there was like this crazy documentary, and it was talking about it sort of ties into the ancient astronaut theory. If you look at the ancient astronaut theory, you look at the hieroglyphics and the stone carvings that are up. They depict these creatures, these aliens, and now if you look at history itself, most of the depictions actually, you know, relate to old ancient pagan gods, whether that be Ra or Set or El, or they sort of, so it was proving that this unidentified alien phenomena was linked to the demonics and these demonic gods who were back in the day. Wow, 10. Woohoo! All right, we've got some stuff coming up. Sorry if my finger keeps going away. I've got the phone set up so I can have it charging. Kate says, it's very detailed and the witnesses seem very legit. There'll be more hearings and everyone seemed thankful for the professionals for coming forward with the concern. Very interesting. What is good that we're seeing it from a less biased standpoint for once. I mean, I love the Americans. I think they're like really, really cool, amazing people. I've got so many American friends all on Facebook and all over the world and on my computer and that. But I find that the governmental part of the US is always at slanted disadvantage. They always look at things in an opinion of it's almost like a slanted crowd all the time. So if they are actually doing it in a way where they're getting details and eyewitnesses, and they're actually taking them seriously. It makes a change, and I'm actually really happy that they're actually looking at things from an actual straight point of view instead of a slightly point of view. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Who else we got? Nanette says, watched a report today. They said NASA are taking over the investigation at Skinwalker Ranch. Wow, that wasn't written on the cards. Talk about revelation of method. This is what I mean. This is proper revelation method. Think about it this way, right? The amount of reports that come out of Skinwalker Ranch, yeah, the Bigfoot sightings, the Skinwalker aliens, the grey aliens. This was all revelation method. They took somewhere where they can literally use it to promote. So then NASA goes in. Now this is a diversionary tactic. Yeah, they've revealed their method. They're showing you what they're doing to divert your attention away from something else. But what are we looking at? The fact that we've got this whole Congress going on the UAPs is one of them, because it's sort of like a two-step process. So NASA take over on a Skinwalker Ranch. This investigate Skinwalker Ranch. They're going to find unidentified alien phenomena. Then this is going to move into the whole Congress of UAP, where they actually get legitimate ideas that it's happening, and the whole time it's happening, something else is going on in the background. You know, if you look at Area 51, it could be something to do with that, or some form of new technology that's going to be released. And what they do is they're diverting our attention away from what's actually happening, so we don't question. Because what you'll find is this new technology that's being developed is so reverse engineered from alien technology that we'll pick up on that if we didn't have our attention elsewhere, you know. What other comments got? Sorry guys, I've done this in a really way. Shout out to Charles Rudd. How you doing, mate? Welcome along. Out to Nico. Hola, Nico. Yes, I've been busy the past couple of weeks. Oh, me too. Hope all is well, Nico. Eric Thompson. Yep. USA also said there were aliens. Big national news. Yeah, they actually released a press conference, an official press release in December 2018, but they done it 3 days before Christmas. It was the 22nd of December 2018, and they actually admitted to the existence of unidentified alien phenomena. And also in that press release, which you can find online, by the way, if you type it in Google, they also admit that the majority of sightings are over US air bases and nuclear sites around the world. So they take what you want with that. That's crazy. And that says, yes, they are covering up a whole lot. It looks like a desperate attempt. It really does look like a desperate attempt. Big shouts out to Jacqueline Dixon. That's an Nico. In other news, just to throw it out there, I'm officially 36 on Monday. Happy birthday to me. I will not be here next week, Friday, guys. I'm actually away for the weekend celebrating my birthday. So I will not be here on Friday. But yeah, just shout out to all you guys. I know there'll be absolutely loads of messages on my Facebook on Monday. So yeah. Like you said, it's that diversionary tactic, right? You know, you sort of like it's like what do they call it? It's like a red cloth to a ball. You know, they'll hold up the red cloth so the ball will charge that. But what the ball doesn't realise, there's something going on behind that. You know, there's a sword there, or it's that. Thanks, Jack. Cheers. It's that diversionary tactic. Everyone's looking at the red cloth. Life begins at 40, Damon. You have years. I feel 40. Yeah, everyone's so busy concentrating on this red square of material that they don't see what's going on behind. You know, and if you actually take a step back and you spend 10 minutes just actually looking at what's going on, you would understand that it is really, really blatant in front of your face. It's happening the whole time. And it's just, I'm sorry about squeaky chair, by the way. Apologies. So yeah, it's just something that's happening. I mean, even if you look at the paranormal phenomena, this is another revelation of method that we talk about, right? And I don't know if anybody in the chat agrees with me on this. There are so many things at the moment within the paranormal world that are being proven by science So it's almost like they're trying to take the paranormal world, something that I've been in for a long time, and a lot of my listeners have been in for a long time, and a lot of podcast guys that I know have been in for a long time. We've been in the paranormal world for a long time, and we've never had that science to back things up. It's almost as if they're trying to take science, take the paranormal, and make it scientific. So it's more durable. But why? Why now? Why now of all times? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? It's become popular. More people are believing in it, so they're going to want to make it more scientific, so they can get their own sort of high connected people, and people with all these degrees involved, because then they can start slanting the crowd and moving them in a certain direction. It's all control based. It's all completely control based. Philip Harrison, are you getting a Zimmer frame for your birthday? I hope not. Jacqueline said it's always like that at the moment. Extreme temperatures takes the news away from what's happening. 100%, yeah. Next says keep your eyes off mainstream news. We should have learned that by now. 100%. All you're going to get in mainstream news is bad news. Bad news that make you go and buy things that you do not need. That is the pure reason and pure creation of mainstream media. It's to make us live in fear, so we buy things that we do not need. We spend money that we do not have to spend. I mean, look at the campaign. Like I think it was like 2 years ago, where they were literally just going out there and caning these world end preppers. It was absolutely nuts. They were just literally caning them, and that was their main focus. To like these people that were preppers are like literally getting caned. These people, do you know why? Because these people are spending money on things that they do need, things that are going to help them at the end of the world, not the stuff that the media were trying to put out. See, when you look at it that way, it's crazy. What's Nico say? Oh God, that one. I don't want that one comment up. Philip, Jesus Christ, man. I will write you a Feliz Cumpleaños on the other dimension page. What's a Feliz Cumpleaños? Cumpleaños. Do I have to say it in an accent as well? Feliz Cumpleaños, eh? Actually, Jacqueline saying you can't prove it, but once you know it's awesome. 100%. Hello, I found everyone. Welcome along. Yeah, 100%. It's. I don't like how things are tailored. Things become popular. It means happy birthday. Oh, okay. That's cool. I like that. I like it a lot. So I'm saying, yeah, I don't like the way in which things become tainted, especially when they're popular. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years ago, when the paranormal was still in its infancy, right? We can be honest about that. It's only really come to shining in the last maybe 4 or 5 years. When the paranormal was in its infancy, all the mass media did and all these specialists did was play the skeptic, and they looked at things and they discounted everything that we've done. I know that. I went through that as a paranormal investigator back in the day. Don't forget, my team started 13 years ago. So it was something that we experienced major amounts of just constantly coming up against brick walls of people running out against your the evidence that you're collecting, and they were just literally people just going, "Oh, this is not happening. This is not happening. This is not happening. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You're making things up." I would love to be an investigator nowadays, because the popularity, there is one around now. What's that? It means happy. I dig the accent. Shouts out to Nico. If they say it is, so reverse it. It's my motto. Yeah. It's all. I'll talk about that in a second, because there is a really famous saying used by Aleister Crowley, and I think it's actually used by Wiccan as well. As above, so below. Might have heard that a few times. As above, so below. So that can be put to every aspect of your life. No matter how bad things are above, they're always the same below. It's a crazy model. I've heard it said so many times. It does pop up so many times. So yeah, I would love to be an investigator nowadays, because your evidence is taken a lot more seriously, for starters. Take care, Philip. See you soon. There's one around. What's around me now? So yeah, like, your evidence is taken more seriously. nowadays. I believe anyway. I believe that the evidence is taken a lot more seriously. I believe also that nowadays it is, you'll find that okay, you will get discounted on evidence that you collect, but there are loads of experts that will back you up. You know, experts from quantum mechanics to frequency experts to experts in infrasound and experts in digital photography and digital filmography that were able to say that they're able to back up that the orb that you picked up is not a dust particle. There's a lot more science nowadays to back up your findings, and it makes life a hell of a lot easier. We were saying that in the 60s and 70s. Yes, yeah, you was. Yeah. As above, so below. You will hear it so many times. I've got a book up there by Helena Blavatsky called Finding Isis, and it's all about. Blavatsky was a bit like Crowley. She was creating this secondary religion based off of. It was like a mixture of Watanism and Hinduism. And one of the mottos they live by is as above, so below. And if you actually look at like some of the secret societies nowadays, whether that be Freemasonry or the Skull and Bones Corporation, or if you look at Bilderberg, they all use this saying. It's somewhere within the crests, as above, so below. You know? And it could mean a number of things if you look at it from that sense. You know, it could just mean that, you know, if something's so good above, it's just as good below. You know, it's basically, you know, everything in life works in the pyramid scheme, doesn't it? It's all pyramid schemes. There's always someone above you who has control over your choices, has control over your finances. It does actually, Nico. You're correct. It does come from Hermetic laws. And if you read the book Finding Isis by Elena Blavatsky, it's part of the Hermetic Library. It's one of them books that go in the Hermetic Library, along with, you know, some of the books that I've got up there are just they all should all be in there, really. You know, The Occult Roots of Nazism is absolutely amazing. Not because I'm some form of SS, you know, Aryan believer, but it actually talks about the original pagan religion adopted by these German people, which was Watanism and the belief in the main god of Wotan. And if you look at it from that, you can see why the SS had this major hierarchy and belief in this Aryan bloodline. Because if you look at some of the stories from films and that, they sort of try and trace it back to the Merovingi bloodline, which is the bloodline of Jesus. But it's got nothing to do with that. The whole SS thing has nothing to do with that. They were trying to find artifacts during World War II, like the Spear of Trinium, and they were trying to find the Holy Grail and things like this, you know, because they believed it held some form of paranormal power. It was got nothing to do with the SS and the Aryan bloodlines. The actual Aryan bloodline was all to do with Watanism, which was the original belief of the Teutonic Knights and the original belief of the Germanics that lived way before the people of World War II. And it was about tracing your bloodline back to this root of Watanism. So, yeah, really, it's a really, really cool book. It's definitely one to read. I think it's amazing. I lost my train of thought now. Where was I? So I haven't actually heard from Benelux. Anyone ever actually heard from Benelux? 2 seconds. I mean, I haven't heard from them, so I don't know where they are. They could be anywhere. So, and this will be like the 3rd or 4th week in a row now that they have. I mean, Lou showed up last week, but she was on holiday, wasn't she? So, slightly worrying. I don't really want to leave you guys on your own next week. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have got any questions about things that I've been talking about tonight, I've done a lot of research for the show tonight because I come on and I talk about nothing and I find out I run out of things to say. So I've actually spent a little bit of time this week doing some research, reading some books before I go to sleep and stuff like that, and getting some information for you guys. As above, so below, you know. And that was another motto. It was adopted by Crowley. Now, we all know that, listen, we say it all the time here on the show. You do not study Crowley. The Curse of Crowley is something that is real. I got heavily and deep into studying Aleister Crowley, and everything went wrong. And I'm at a point now where I'm happy things are at the moment. So where they are, I've been through my hard times. I'm coming out the other side, and I'm happy for where I am. The body's changing. I'm getting ready for my first or my second show. I'm getting ready to raise some money for charity and do a 14K. I've got a great coach in place. You know, things are going really, really well. I have a partner now who supports me through everything, and it's just amazing to have her as well. Big shouts out to Helen. Thank you, babe, for supporting me. You know, it's I wouldn't go into that, but Crowley. The only way to describe Aleister Crowley is a manifestation of the understudies before him. Yeah, it's the fact of the matter is that he read a lot. He was a rich white kid who never worked a day in his life, lived off daddy's money, and decided to take a turn in life down the wrong path. I mean, there's stories of him in his Scottish manner talking about he spent 27 days fasting to summon a demon, and it turns out that he read the text wrong, and he actually fasted for 2 little days. So, yeah, he wasn't the most brightest penny in the box, but very well known. But I just believe he was like almost a correlation of people before him. Joey, you talk about people like Blavatsky, people like what's his name? Even Nostradamus is seen as an esocentric or a hermetic studyist. I've got all of his predictions up there. I mean, a lot of them are coming true, but like you look at Nostradamus' predictions, they're almost the haikus that he used. I think they're haikus. They're almost so vague that they could literally. It's that ink dot theory, the theory that you know, like you have the psychologist that holds up the bit of paper with all the ink dots in it. I might see a bear, you might see a chicken. Yeah, it's that ink dot theory when it comes to Nostradamus' predictions, because they are very, very vague. You know, they're 4 lines of text that can be put to certain parts of history that happened after he had passed away. And it's almost like you can make them fit certain eras. You know, this is the idea. Yeah, they were actually. And the gold. That's another book. That's another amazing book that I read. Nico's put up Crowley and Rider White were contemporaries in the Golden Dawn. Yes, they were. The Golden Dawn being the studies around the Temple of Osiris, talking about, you know, the New World Order and the summoning of spirits. I do believe, if I'm right, Nico, I remember reading about when he left the Golden Dawn. He was still the head of the Golden Dawn, but he left the Golden Dawn to go to Italy. He was accused of killing a child in a small town in the south of Italy, and was actually kicked out of the country by Mussolini. So, yeah, you can't trust somebody who is unliked by somebody who is really evil. So you can't really trust that. But yes, he was contemporary of the Golden Dawn. In fact, I do believe that Crowley did write most of the Golden Dawn. There is a book. Oh yeah, Nico's true story. True story. He was actually kicked out of Italy by Mussolini. Supposedly, he murdered a child in a church in the south of Italy. Made national press and moved really quickly, and he was kicked out of the country. I think it was after that he flew to England and he bought the Crowley Lodge in Scotland, which is very close. See, this is where another thing where people put 2 and 2 together and get 12. The Crowley Lodge, I do believe, is very, very close to Loch Ness. And obviously, you know, you talk about Nico, you know loads. Don't ever put yourself down, girl. Honestly, it would be great to have you on the show. It'd be great to have a chat. So, yeah, we talk about how, you know, water is a conduit. It helps embrace and helps you enlighten paranormal activity, and this is why he moves so close to it. That's the theory. It's one of the theories. So yeah, I mean, so that's cool. I totally forgot about the whole Golden Dawn thing. That's really really cool. I think I totally forgot about that. He also, I don't know if anyone's ever read it. I don't know. Stay there for a second. 2 seconds, guys. I've got this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? As you can tell, this is something that I've never ever read and never ever opened. But it's we're talking along the lines of Crowley. I actually have this. That's Crowley's Book of the Law, Aleister Crowley. It's a very very short, tiny book, and he talks about. See, now that's a recopy, that's a rewrite of the original. If you actually get the original Book of the Law is spelled Lore. Snapping it! I got it too. But that I haven't read the book. I got it to study on it. Then the Curse of Crowley hit, and I was like, I'm not opening it. I'm not opening it. But supposedly in there, he writes about how someone should be. Based around his belief systems and how someone should be. And there's like certain rules and regulations about summoning that are in there, supposedly. He's also got a book called 777 or something. I'm sure it's called 7. Or it might just be called 7. I mean, I've got a copy of that somewhere as well. Yeah, Nico, definitely have you on the show. It'd be quite cool, man. I like it. See, it's great having professionals on the show and people that know their stuff and people that can sit there and talk about stuff in a way in which, because they specialize in that subject. But I find listeners make the best guests because they understand the direction in which you go when you talk. They understand the direction in which things should be at when you're on a show or on the podcast. So it's definitely an idea, Nico. We can definitely do that. Guys, don't forget, if you've got any questions to come up in the chat, right? Because I am getting very close to how much I've done research and I'm running out now. But yeah, any questions, hit me up in the chat room. Feel free to ask me anything. So yeah, I think this is definitely make the best, 100% make the best guests on the show, 100%. Anybody seen the news? Has anyone seen the news? I believe there was the whole thing. I watched the release of the Titanic submarine. I watched a video the other day when the door was being held together with a nut and bolt. I thought, oh my God, is this true? Or is this them trying to take the revelation of method? We're seeing them taking our focus off of what really happened and looking at it in the sense of, the submarine wasn't built properly and that's why they died, and because there's something else at play. Big post by Nico. She says, yeah. Nico says, the only thing I know or remember about Crowley is that he was a member of the Golden Dawn. The thing he had with Lilith and the curse that had the member of Led Zeppelin who bought this house. Yeah. Didn't he wasn't he the one who recreated the whole theory that Lilith was the first woman, and because she was subservient to Adam, that she was then cast out and made demonic and brought down to hell by God, and then there was Eve was created from Adam's right rib bone. I'm sure that was Crowley that brought that back to life after. And of course, they made his own tarot. Yeah, it's very, very popular. This is the third highest selling tarot deck in the world. Crazy. People don't listen. They just love sorrow and pain. I thought you said nudes at first. Yeah, all right. I'm not doing nudes. If you want to see nudes, you've got to go on my OnlyFans page, okay? People, you have to pay for that sort of privilege, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the business, I'm only joking. It's all for you, Babs. Yes, Nico, I think the original story behind that actually comes back all the way from the original Hermetic libraries. It was actually a scroll that was taken from... What's the library that burned down? Emmy owns that tarot. It's very interesting to say that. Yes, yeah. I it's there's two types of tarot cards. There's the energy cards and the curse decks, I like to call them. I mean, this is not something that's written down that you can find out. It's just my way of looking at tarot decks. I've been around them a long time. Mum's a tarot reader, aunt's a tarot reader. But you have two. I believe you have two types of decks within tarot reading. You have what they called energy decks. These are cards that have picked you. It's like the whole Harry Potter one thing, you know. The cards pick the wizard. The wizard doesn't pick the cards. These ones that you work well with, you're able to get good readings off them. You had to get good energy off them. These are called energy decks. And then you have something called the curse decks. I call them curse decks. These are ones that you are drawn to in the sense of it's something that you really want. You know, like the Crowley cards, like the demonic cards, but they don't carry any significance with you. You find that you'll get a lot of bad energy off them, off a little bit most of the time, because these are wanting by the conscious when the paranormal works on the subconscious level. Yeah. And it's just a little way that I use to work things out. I mean, normally when I have a tarot reading done now, I ask the person, can I just ask, I always say to them before I have a reading, can I just ask you a few questions about your tarot deck? Is that okay? They go, yeah, no problem. Where'd you get a tarot deck? Well, I saw it online and I really, really wanted it. So I bought it and I felt drawn to it. Okay. So you sort of know where that sort of reading's going to go. No, whereas if you ask, say, that they say to you, where'd you get the tarot deck from? And they're like, well, you know, I wasn't interested in buying a tarot deck, but this one, I saw it and I just had to buy it. You know, it was there. I needed it. It was something that I felt I connected with it. Then you know that it's like a bit more of a sort of like an energy deck more than a curse deck. Annette says, I've stopped using cards for a long time because of just that. They were getting darker and darker. And that's the problem, you see. Like, tarot is like any tool we use within the paranormal. Over usage can open you up to dark things. I mean, how many of you guys have heard the story of the woman that's become obsessed with EVP readings and now is demonically possessed, or the person who is obsessed with pendulum dowsing and is now possessed or attached? You know, excess within the paranormal can lead to these things happening. Nico says, I had a tarot deck with goetic demons and I don't use it very much. The other day I made some readings and I had a headache the whole day. Exactly. Tarot is some... Okay, how do I explain this? This is like years of I've been around tarot all my life. My mum's mum was a tarot reader. She was a gypsy who used to be able to do readings within the crystal ball and tarot. So it's something I've been around all my life. So a tarot deck is supposed to come from a place of light. Yeah? You're talking about tarot in itself is a reading within the light. It's not a reading within the dark. When you've got these people creating these demonic cards or cards with like these dark pictures on them, and you know, you're no longer reading from the light, you're reading from the dark. And how many people out there can read in the dark? Not many. It's like what it says in tin. It's like reading a book in the dark. It's impossible. You're guessing. You know, a tarot reading has to come from a place of peace and a place of light. And certain cards like that. I mean, even when I was creating my own tarot deck, I was working with a really good friend on the show who's no longer with us anymore, and that's why I haven't finished the cards off. But I was doing them based on gods, Greek gods, Norse gods, Roman gods. But even each depiction on each card come from a place of light. There was no dark. And I had people on there like Hela, I had Prometheus. There was so many cards that will come from the god that we was trying to depict on the card was a negative god, but the way that the picture depicted it put it in a sense of the light. So if you're creating your own tarot deck, make sure, even if you use a dark subject, that the depictions and the cards themselves reflect light. Which surprised me because I wasn't sensitive to these things. Yeah, but it's not that. It's doing a reading from a cursed deck of the tarot is almost like giving yourself dehydration. It's bound to happen. It's a side effect of reading from the dark, you know. Annette says people think they are different to other equipment. They are not. They draw spirit of all kinds, just like everything else. Exactly. And I will say, right, so this is another great example. Done an interview on someone else's podcast once. It was a few years ago, and we was talking about the paranormal team, the team that I was running, and at the same time I was running my team. I was shadow running 2 other teams, and the host of the show actually said to me, he said, "What is your favourite bit of equipment that you use when you're out investigating?" I went, "Myself and my mediums." And he went, "Well, that's not a bit of equipment, is it?" I went, "Is it not? Why is it not a bit of equipment?" He said, "Because equipment is something you can see, something you can hold, something you can touch, something you can verify." I said, "Right, so if we look at myself and we look at the mediums that are on an investigation with me, okay, touching them may come across as something extremely funny or something that might make them feel uncomfortable, but they are plausible. There's something that are there." I said, "You can verify their information." I said, "And the feelings that you get on investigation are second to none." So it's like you said, any equipment, they're not, spirits are drawn to. So it's another thing you have to take into consideration is when you're on an investigation, is the mediums that are working on the investigation are also a bit of equipment. They are drawing in spirit energy. They're drawing in spirits closer and closer. So this could get to a point where this could be an excess. And now that medium who's working every single weekend and every single day of the week while doing tarot readings and doing freelance readings for the SNC and so on, is now overexposed themselves to the paranormal world and now has an attachment. It can happen. Nico said, "I can give you a hand with the deck so you can finish it if you want. Making a tarot deck, so I'm making a lot of research on the matter." I would love to get them finished, Nico, but just out of respect to the person who passed away, who was a listener here on the show, I won't finish them. They're put away, and I'm going to keep them away for a little while. It's just something that I wish to do, you know. I don't think I'll ever finish them. I got close. As you see, I like drawing, and I draw a lot of occult and crazy stuff. So, sorry, that subject. And that says, yes, mediums do not need equipment to draw a spirit. I don't. I was always explained a medium on investigation, and the way it was explained to me makes a lot of sense. They are a light bulb in a dark room. Yeah? Very dimly lit light bulb, but they're a dimly lit light bulb in an extremely dark room. So as soon as that light bulb goes on, even though it's not bright and it's not to the point where it draws everyone's attention, but it makes spirit aware of them, you know. And that little dim light bulb is now attracting all the moths and all the insects towards it, which are the spirits. So yes, mediums don't need equipment to draw energy, no. But Nico, when you finish your tarot deck, let me know. If you need someone to try it out, I have a lot of connections within the paranormal realm, and I'm able to get them sorted for you. Big shout out to Philip. Welcome back, brother. Welcome along. Last 15 minutes. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Any subjects that you want to talk about? Anything that sort of springs to mind? Stick it up there in the chat room. We'll have a debate about it. I might even play devil's advocate on this one. When it comes to paranormal investigations as well, what people have to understand is your equipment is only as good as the mediums you're using. For instance, K2 meters and EVP recorders and REM pods. They're only as good as the mediums that you're using, because the mediums are what are going to draw the spirits in. If you've got a false medium, a medium that isn't unable to do readings, a medium that's falsely doing readings, then it's just going to push spirits way more than draw them in. I've had that before. I've had people message me, for some reason, when I'm on investigation, when our medium's there, we don't get anything happen. But when our medium's not there, loads of stuff's happening. It's because the mediums themselves are pushing the spirits away, because they're falsifying information, you know? So it's definitely something that needs to be looked into. It's something that people have to understand that it does play a big aspect. You know, a medium is like a spiritual magnet almost. Some of the best mediums I worked with were completely unknown. You know, they were people that you wouldn't know from Adam. You could probably get on a bus with them and they would look like normal people, but they are some of the best mediums. They're able to get specific information. They're able to almost draw spirits in willy-nilly when they like, and it's fantastic. No problem, Nico. No problem. We'll get it sorted. Not a problem. Shouts out to all the YouTubers. YouTubers going like off at the minute. So, slightly worried about Ben and Lou though. That's very strange. Yeah, so I think I might have all of my information actually. I don't know what else to talk about. I don't know. I've got to research some more, and I'm gonna have to research some more for the next show. All right, so guys, a couple of reminders. I am not here next week, Friday. What's that? The episodes? Yes, they don't go around telling everyone about themselves. Exactly. And this is one of the points I was trying to get across. A good medium doesn't worry about themselves. They worry about the surroundings and the people they're with. You know. So next week Friday I won't be here. I will be on holiday, so I'm hoping Ben and Lou are here to able to take over the show. If not, we'll be back the week after. Stay locked here to the other dimension. We've got some big things coming. Some brand new merch will be dropping very, very soon. Also, we've got the Scarlet Witches show, Divination, and the Sunday show here, which is definitely something to check out. If you do want to be part of the Other Dimension Network, if you do want to host a show here on the Other Dimension, please hit us up. All you have to do is message us through the page and we'll get you all sorted out. We'll get you to the point where it is completely done and we'll get you all set up. I'll do all the video work. I'll do all the graphics for you, the overlays and everything. All you literally do is show up on your showtime. You click start show and you talk. And it's happy days. Trust me, it's definitely worth doing. If you don't believe me, ask the Scarlet Witch. She's been going now for a little while and she loves it. It's great. So, yeah. Also, big shouts out to our affiliates, Embrace the Dark Paranormal, Shadows in the Dark, and the Stoke-on-Trent Museum. As Charles, thank you so much. Yeah. I'm guessing that's it for me, guys. I did pop on a little bit early today, but I am going to pop off a little bit early. I'm going to try and relax down from the gym earlier. Like I said, leg day, plus an hour of cardio, killing me. So, yeah. Don't forget, guys, loads coming. Keep it locked. Big shout out to all of you for keeping it locked in tonight. You've been absolutely amazing. I've been your host, Damon Penny. One more thing, Nico said the other day, I learned that the church banned exorcism manuals because they were a bit too magical for the church. that I got a great story about that for the next show. Okay, so Nico, keep it locked for the next one. We're going to talk about that because I've got a really cool story about that. From me here at the Other Dimension, it's bye from me and bye from nobody else. It's only me here. And remember, if there's our explanation, there is always the Other Dimension. You have a great weekend, people. Thank you for locking in. Have a great